I'm Michelle with two L's, and I am one half of Force of Light Entertainment. And I am here to give you my kind of initial reaction. I just watched The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, also known as Chapter 20, The Foundling. And I'm going to say up front, I overall enjoyed this episode. And in my thoughts, in my review of this episode, there will be things that I like. And I also will get into some of my critiques of this episode because though I enjoyed it, it's not like this is a 5 out of 5 on the scale of best episodes of Mandalorian. But I overall did enjoy Chapter 20, The Foundling. Okay, so let's get into this episode. Things that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the start of this episode. I liked. I mean, how do you not like? You guys know, obviously, you can look behind me. I am a big fan of Grogu. Who doesn't? I mean, come on. Do you really have a heart if you don't find Grogu adorable? I mean, he is adorable. So, Din having him begin to train to become a Mandalorian, that was just kind of funny and cute. Seeing Grogu train against another Mandalorian kid, and of course he struggles in the beginning, but then he whips out his force using skills and takes care of the kid quite easily. So that whole scene was cute. You had a drag. Second thing I've seen in the last 5 days with the dragon in it. You had a dragon in this take off that foundling kid, and of course that's the rest of the story. Really, them having to go get it. But things that I enjoyed, and I will say this because this episode I can definitely already hear people saying it's a filler episode, and this is. I don't know if I'd say it's so much a filler episode as I've kind of said this before. The Mandalorian is very much like an episode of Rebels. Some episodes of Rebels were kind of more self contained stories, and then others kind of more carried on like a continuation of a story. This is kind of one of those standalone episodes, very kind of serial, the way shows are on like ABC, NBC, those type of things. That's kind of what this is, but I wouldn't necessarily say it is filler because we do get more character development with a main character, and that character being Grogu. And I will say too, as Grogu follows the armorer to get some armor made for him, I love when the camera, and they do that for a little bit in this. I love when the camera it's like we're seeing things through Grogu's eyes and Grogu's perspective. And I really enjoy when they do that because it's I think because he's so small and since he's so young and it's that childlikeness, it's almost like he's seen things in such awe. And it's a lot of fun when they give us Grogu's perspective because it is like, ooh, like that's just kind of how it always is when the camera goes from that angle. So I enjoyed that. But we finally get something that they set up in I believe it was the 5th episode of season 2, where we had Ahsoka last season, and we begin to understand what Grogu came from and how Grogu was there in the Jedi Temple as Order 666 went out, and as Anakin came in and stormed the Jedi Temple with the clones, and they began to kill all the Jedi. So we finally see how Grogu escaped the situation from the Jedi Temple on Coruscant that day. And it's just some random Jedi that we don't know. But they did have Ahmed Best, who, of course, played Jar Jar Binks in the prequels. He got to show up and save the day for Grogu as a Jedi, which I thought was just kind of a fun little cameo that they gave him that, especially since he took a lot of crap for playing Jar Jar Binks in the prequels. So it's nice to see him get to play a Jedi and to save a beloved character in Grogu. And I think too, Grogu begins, it's almost like Din in season 1, where the armor would be pounding out like a new piece of armor, and we would get these flashbacks of Din. And in this episode, we get that with Grogu. We get his flashbacks again of him being saved by that Jedi in the Jedi Temple after Order 66. And we see again that Grogu really does, as Ahsoka brought up in season 2, you're dealing with a kid, and of course, again, the episode is called The Foundling, him being one of the foundlings, the other one being the kid that got dragged off by the dragon. But we're seeing that he really does have a lot of trauma, which really that's where I'm saying there is some character development. We're seeing more about Grogu, that Grogu really is uh, a kid who's experienced tremendous trauma, which just really endears you more to him and his relationship with Din Djarin and with Mando, because he's found someone that he loves, that he feels safe with and secure with after such a traumatic event for a kid. And it also made me kind of wonder, actually, are they actually kind of playing on Grogu's trauma as to why he hasn't developed enough yet to speak? I had that question today watching this episode because, when kids go through very traumatic things, sometimes there can be a delay in things progressing the way that they are supposed to progress as we grow up and mature. And I wondered if if they're kind of hinting at that. Maybe there's been some stunted growth with Grogu because of the trauma that he went through that day at the Jedi Temple. And I wonder if we'll pick up with more. I have a feeling will see more of Ahmad Best being that Jedi, because we see them escape, but there's still a lot of missing information with Grogu. Like, where does he go from here? Because we still don't know how he ends up where he is in the pilot episode or season 1, episode 1 of The Mandalorian when Mando finds him. But I did enjoy that. I enjoyed getting more backstory with Grogu, and just pretty much everything with Grogu was very adorable. Him and even the armor, and her giving him another piece of armor. And I like that they're embracing him. Again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that the Mandalorian, I've always said, is a double meaning name, that it will be both Mando and Grogu. But I also think that Grogu will be a Mandalorian Jedi at some point. Then also, too, the other thing I do like that they're still doing, I like what they're doing with Bo-Katan, because she's kind of a woman who's very lost. Like, she doesn't know where she fits in. She'd kind of lost all of her faith. We saw that in the last couple episodes. And now she's joined what she used to call a cult. And it's like she's just trying to find herself. And you see her getting accepted as a great warrior and leader in Din Djarin's tribe. So I think there's going to be some interesting stuff that's still going to be developed with Bo-Katan's character. And I'm very interested in it. In fact, Bo-Katan has been probably one of the most interesting things of the season, which leads me into a critique of this episode. We are now 4 episodes into season 3 of The Mandalorian, and I'm not really sure where we're going. And I mean, that's not necessarily horrible, but I feel like you should know at this point, like, where this is going. Like in season 1, by the end of episode 3, you pretty much knew where the story was going. That something was going to come to head where Din was going to have to protect the child. Season 2, get him to his own kind. Of course, that ends with Luke Skywalker coming to get him. Again, at 4 episodes in, I'm not really sure where this is. I have really no clue where I think that this season is going. And I do feel that is somewhat problematic. I don't mind episodes that really just kind of give us more character development, but we should, at this point, know where we're going. I mean, you guys let me know where you think this season is going, because I'm usually pretty good at guessing where The Mandalorian is going, and I genuinely don't really have a clue where this season is going at this point, because all we got in the trailers was it was about Din's redemption. Well, Din's got his redemption. So what's coming next? Where's the story going next? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then another critique I would have is 3 episodes in, and in his own show, I don't feel like we've gotten a lot with Mando. Like, there's not been a lot of character development with Din Djarin in this season. Let's just say he is yet to get an episode that does for him what his first episode did for his character in the Book of Boba Fett. That first episode where Grogu's not in it was a fantastic episode for Din Djarin's character. And in his own show, we've yet to get an episode that I feel really pushes his story forward. And right now, it just kind of feels that his character's a little stagnant. I mean, I still love, obviously, again, the heartbeat of the show, which is him and Grogu's relationship. But I do expect 4 episodes in to have a little more going on with Mando. I mean, he got his redemption, but I still feel there we could be doing more with Din Djarin's character, and hopefully they will moving forward. But yeah, that was kind of my thoughts. The other plot, the plot of this one is just kind of getting back that the Foundling kid, and just kind of more of an adventure story. It was okay. I really, the things I like though, as I said, of this episode was more what they did with giving us more info on Grogu, and then I'm very interested, very intrigued with where they're going with Bo-Katan. But that's kind of it. How would I rate this on episode of 5? 5 being the maximum level of enjoyment. I'd give this about a 3.5 hoots out of 5 hoots. It was a solid episode, but it's not like I'm gonna call someone and say, "Hey, did you see this episode of The Mandalorian?" It's not on that level either. But I overall enjoyed it, and all the Grogu stuff definitely put a smile on my face. And again, the Bo-Katan stuff has me very interested. But we'll just have to wait and see where this goes. And again, I have no clue where this is going. I have no clue where next week is going. So your guess is as good as mine in this situation. But yeah, share your thoughts on this episode. What do you think? Where do you think the story's going? Do you feel similar to me? Did you love it, hate it? Share your thoughts below. And if you have not yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also give the video a thumbs up. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to be a force of light. All right. Bye, guys.